It is a horrible idea that there is somebody who owns us, who makes us, who supervises us, waking and sleeping, who knows our thoughts, who can convict us of thought crime, who can do thought crime, just for what we think. You're a child made in the image of God. Oh no, you're not. You're a faggot. And you can't join your church and you can't go to heaven. This is disgraceful. It's inhuman.
Someone named Activist News, who apparently has over 9,000 subscribers, so he's very popular, has been pounding my channel. For some reason seems to have a problem with the fact that I don't believe gods exist. He thinks that he doesn't understand why I'm labeling myself an atheist because I don't believe gods exist. I guess he has a better word for that. He thinks it's agnostic, which is somebody who does not, what is an agnostic? They do not know. They walk around and they say, I don't know. I'm an agnostic, I don't know. That's what an agnostic is. It's about whether you know something is or is not. An atheist or a theist, bleh, I'm sorry, it's 12:54 in the morning, so I'm tired. But an atheist is someone who doesn't believe, just like a theist is someone who does believe, an atheist is someone who doesn't believe. An atheist is without belief. A theist is with belief. That's what an atheist is. I am without belief. I don't believe gods exist, so I'm an atheist. I also don't know, and that makes me an honest atheist. And a theist who is honest would also admit they don't know. There is such a thing as an agnostic theist, too. I'm an agnostic atheist. So, the last note he wrote before I blocked him, he's quoting me, I fail to understand why theists have such a problem with people who don't believe their bullshit, hook, line, and sinker. And then he writes, because you are using a public forum to spout your anti-theist propaganda. Interesting. So all those Christians who spout anti-atheist propaganda, that's okay. It's just ones who have a different message that aren't bleeding with the herd, those are the ones you take offense to. Yeah, I did block him. First of all, this is propaganda. This is propaganda. Somebody left this on my bus. This is propaganda. They go through and they quote sentences from a fiction book and their little interpretation of these little sentences in their stupid fiction book, and they tell people their idea of how to know their God. They don't even fucking bother to show gods exist or prove gods exist, and all they have is sentences from a stupid fiction book. That is propaganda. Me saying what I think and what I don't think and daring to voice an opinion is not propaganda. I don't walk around and say, gods don't exist. I say, I don't believe gods exist. And I continue to not believe gods exist until somebody fucking shows me the evidence to prove gods exist. Anything else on the planet, it's expected. If I say that there's a giant red fire-breathing dragon on top of Mount Pilchuck here in Washington, people would say, prove it. Wouldn't they? Or would they just say, oh, well, it must be true because you said so? Or maybe I would have to write a short story to say that there's a fire-breathing dragon on Mount Pilchuck. And then they would believe it because it's written down. Apparently, if something is written down, it's more likely to be true than if somebody just says so. Or if you write it down and then you bury it in the ground and somebody digs it up 100 years later, then it's even more likely to be true than if it's just written down on modern-day paper in a nice, clean book form. I'm sorry, people are idiots. I have a right to say what I think. And I don't think there's such a thing as gods. Hello? Why is that any different than my saying there's no such thing as leprechauns? And yes, I do think I have a right to say that. Apparently in this new America where Trump is whatever, you can't say what you think unless it's what they want you to say. Oh, I'm sorry, you're not bleeding with the herd. Bah! Yeah, I fucking blocked him. Pissed me off that he referred to my opinion and my thoughts on things as propaganda. No, propaganda is when you make up bullshit and you walk around and you say it's true and you tell people it's true and then you threaten and bully them with dire consequences unless they believe your bullshit. You scare them, you guilt trip them, you twist words around and try to make people whatever confused, and then you attack them. I am sorry, but oh, here we go. I have to continue to read what he says. Okay. And secondly, you will find most Christians waste their time talking to you about God because they have pity for you. We are instructed to spread the word of God. Oh, you have pity for me? Oh, guess what? I have pity for you because I was you for 35 years of my life. And I know how much it damaged me, and it makes me very sad to see other people in the situation that I was in for so long. I pity you. I pity anybody who walks around thinking that they're flawed or that they're damaged from birth and that they need a crutch in order to be a whole and complete human being. I pity you. And you know what? If theists pity me and they come to talk to me because they pity me, fuck them. They don't need to bother. Don't even come to my channel. The days when I was willing to listen to the stupid fucking same arguments over and over and over that's just bullshit from tracts and propaganda that Christians are fed constantly are over. I don't hear it. I don't want to hear it anymore. I'm sick of it. I used to spout it myself. I used to walk around and pound other people over the heads with that bullshit and try to make other people feel guilty like they needed God, my God, because my God is the only real God, right? Based on what exactly? What evidence? Exactly. There isn't any. Oh yes, but I walked around. I sure walked around and acted like I knew more than they did, and I was enlightened, and I had special knowledge, and they were blind and lost. I was exactly that person for 35 years of my life. So I know all those spiels that Christians throw at me. I know them before they come out of their mouths. I know them before they're stupid. They post them to me. I know the stupid activist news twit. All the same arguments, and I've made them myself. I was on the end dishing it out. And now I get to have it dished at me. You know what? It was fine for a while. I'm sick of it. No, it isn't propaganda to have a difference of opinion. It isn't propaganda to realize that the thing that I believed and swallowed hook, line, and sinker for my entire life is wrong. To figure it out that it's wrong, to do the research and figure it out that it's a lie and it's a malicious and destructive manipulation of people's lives. And I'm going to say what I think, and I'm going to say, you know what, this is what I looked at, and this is what I uncovered when I looked at it. I went looking for to get my questions answered. I went looking because my faith was in trouble, and I didn't understand why some parts of the Bible didn't seem like they came from God, but rather from really sexist men. I needed some reassurance that my beliefs were true, and I went looking for evidence, and guess what? The only evidence that I found was that it wasn't true, and that it's all made up, and it's bullshit. And am I going to just meekly go, oh, well, I don't want to say what I think because it's just not popular and people get upset? No, fuck that. I wish that people had spoken out to me much, much earlier, so I didn't waste so much of my life, so I didn't get quite so damaged as I was. if I can speak out and make a difference for somebody else, I'm going to. Isn't it funny how when Christians speak out and say what they think, it's viewed as a positive, happy thing? And what are they telling people? They're telling people that they were born flawed from birth and damaged from birth, and that they need to repent just being born. That's their happy good news. It's so positive. And that they need a crutch. And that they need this thing in order to be complete whole people. And if they don't accept it, this free gift, they're going to suffer and be tortured forever by this loving God. That's the good, happy, positive news that Christians spread all over the place, and it's just so wonderful and so loving and so good. But if I, as an atheist, spread what I think of as good news, that everybody was born right the first time, and that we don't need a crutch to be whole and complete people, that we're already as good as that we're already good people all by ourselves. And you know what? We get the credit for it. All the work that we put in to walk around and be nice and help people and care and show concern and give a word of encouragement for somebody. We get to be the ones. Oh, isn't it good how God worked through her? No. It was me that did that. I'm a good person. It isn't God working through me. I am the good person. I did something nice, and I didn't do it because I hope to get brownie points in heaven, or I hope to go to heaven when I die and get to have a castle and a crown on my head. No, I did it because it made me feel good inside. It made me feel good inside to see somebody else smile and feel a little bit better about themselves. That's why I did it, and I think it's a good thing, and it makes me happy, and it makes me want to tell people. And I think that's good news. And why is my good news viewed as negative? I'm not telling people they're broken. I'm not telling people they need to jump through all these hoops in order to deserve to not go to a horrible place and be tortured forever. I'm telling people, you know what? You're already good. You were born good. You don't need a crutch. You don't need God to be good. And you don't need God to have value. This is something I saw yesterday on my bus, and it just really made me sick to my stomach. 3 older kids get on my bus with these orange t-shirts. And I kid you not, the t-shirt said, "Without Christ, I am nothing." That's what the t-shirt said. Without Christ, I am nothing. Child abuse. Available at a church near you. I'm sorry, but that is not a positive message. That's a destructful, evil message to give to children. No, kids. Without Christ, you're everything. You are good from the moment you are born. You are whole and complete and exactly right. So I just wanted to get on and say what I think at almost 2 in the morning or whatever it is. Okay, it's 1:06 now. I don't know what Activist News thinks. He's got a pole shoved up his ass or what he thinks. But apparently he thinks he's a cop on YouTube. And he can walk around telling people, okay, well, your message isn't very good. Calling what I think propaganda. I don't walk around saying atheism is the only truth. I don't walk around saying if you're not an atheist, you're going to go to a terrible place and be tortured forever. What this guy reminds me of is the Muslim police. They're the whatever, religious police in Islamic countries. They go and arrest atheists and agnostics or apostates. They arrest them. And the reason they arrest them is because they don't want these people to spread their damaging message to believers and infect believers. That's what these cops, these religious police do. They don't want people who are skeptics to infect the people who are mindlessly believing. And that's what this activist news person is acting like right now on my channel. He's acting like the religious police in Islamic countries. He's coming to my channel and saying, you're posting on a public forum your propaganda, your anti-theist propaganda. You're infecting the herd, or rather the flock, I should say, of sheep. You're infecting the sheep. Innocent, naive, brainwashed people are going to come to your channel and encounter this alternative message. Sorry, this is me. It's super late. I get even weirder. But okay. I'm happy that we have religious police now in America. I blocked him because it's none of his fucking business. I have every right to say what I think is good news and what I really truly believe is fact, unlike the bullshit that I bought into for most of my life and walked around pushing on other people. This is what I think is fact. We're animals, just like all other animals. We're born exactly right the first time. We have one life to live. Every day we can make a difference for somebody else's life. And that's a good thing. Okay, we die and we're not going to be remembered. Why does that cancel out all the good things we can do while we're here? Oh, we don't get a carrot at the end? Oh, too bad. So what, we're going to sit and pick our nose? That's my new favorite phrase. Or are we going to go do something with the time that we have here to make this a better world? Seems like a real easy answer to me, and I've made my choice. And I'm sorry if Activist News doesn't like it. He can fucking whatever. Anyway, I think I'm going to go to bed now, but I kind of got fired up after reading his little whatever, his little posts. There were many of them, but I don't feel like sharing them because they were all really kind of stupid. And this last one pissed me off when he called my opinions, my honest opinions, and the things that I learned when I researched propaganda. No. It's what I researched. I can say I don't think Jesus ever existed. I'm like 99.9% sure that Jesus never existed, based on what I read. Other people can think whatever they want to. That's the conclusion I came to, and I have a right to say what I think. I don't think he ever existed. I think it was made up by the church. What I found was a lot of evidence that kind of pointed to that. The fact that the early Christians, the earliest Christians, didn't know anything about him. The fact that Gospels were written, basically fiction stories were written to try to give him a history, try to make him seem like a real person. The fact that the only evidence that Christianity has is forged stuff that they inserted into the works of historians' writings, like Josephus and Tacitus or whatever his name is. That's what they had to resort to do. They didn't, because no actual historian wrote about him. They had to insert interpolations into historians' existing work, and they did a piss poor job of it too. It's pretty obvious when you look at what came before and after what was inserted. It wasn't there. In the earlier versions of that writing, it wasn't there either. It came later. Suddenly there it is. Rant. I'm sorry, it got me really pissed. Having my opinion and what I think called propaganda. Like I said, I threw it. I don't even know where it went. That stupid booklet. That's propaganda. Saying this is true. This is true. Look at all these sentences from this book, and this is how we interpret each one of these sentences, and this is our proof that it's all true. No evidence, just sentences in a book and our interpretation. And this is true. That's propaganda. Anyway, if you've been watching, thanks. Bye.